let's talk about how energetics is something that comes naturally to everyone, but some of us have kind of forgotten. um, this is something that comes up for me over and over again because ultimately we are energetic beings. Our body is designed to be a receiver and a transmitter of energy, and we kind of have lost that somewhere along the way. And now when we talk about energetics, when I talk about energetics to people, people feel like they need to relearn something, they need to spend time meditating, they need to spend time doing this and tracking this and following this and writing this and journaling this and doing all the stuff that makes it actually like a little part-time job. Energetics isn't as hard as that. Energetics is easy, it is flowful, and it comes naturally to you if you allow it. Okay, my name's Gail. I'm the energy-led woman. This is the kind of stuff that I talk about. I talk about how using energy, harnessing energy, leading with energy throughout your life actually makes life easier, better, more magical, just more exciting, just things come to you, things flow to you, opportunities, all the things. And energy impacts everything from your health, wealth, self, money, abundance, joy, happiness, relationships. It affects everything because energy is everything, okay? Energy is all. So I have brought my little video recording kit outside because today is a beautiful day here in the UK, in Yorkshire. We have blue skies, we have sunshine, we have the lot, and that is not usual. So I am making the most of it while I can. So if I look a bit glowy, if I look like I'm squinting, all that kind of stuff, the sun is literally above you because I just need to feel that on my face. So let's talk about planets first. Let's talk about astrology, let's talk about planets, let's talk about moons moving around, okay? In fact, let's deep dive into the moon. The moon goes through, what, 8 stages, roughly? And it takes you from setting goals to refining them to kind of seeing clearly where you're either a boost of energy or seeing clearly to what's going wrong, and then refining yourself or releasing and deciding what you need to do for the path forward. Very similar to the seasons. In winter we set in our intentions, in spring we start to kind of go towards them, refine them, follow the path. In the summer we're at the height of the energy, all the things, everything's really clear. In autumn we start to kind of tidy it up, what do we need to do to get everything ready for the winter and setting our new intentions. And the moon kind of follows that, roughly that same pattern. I like to think of things as seasons. I do follow the seasons, I do follow seasonal living, hence this moment. But yeah, so that moon goes through that process every single lunar cycle, every single 4 weeks, whether you are aware of it or not, okay? And it will pull your thoughts, pull your energy in the direction of the phase that it is in. And you may or may not be aware of it, but it will do. And you may or may not notice it because you may or may not be too busy in your life, too busy setting goals on the first of the month to notice that actually those goals came into your mind actually in the new moon phase, or too busy setting goals at the first of the month to realize that actually what you are actually seeing at the moment is the tidying up phase. And so you're able to see your goals really closely, really carefully, because you're in the tidying up phase. So the Gregorian calendar has been laid over the top of these lunar phases. The seasons and the lunar phases happen, and then someone's laid a calendar over the top that doesn't really reflect any of it. But hey, let's not go there on this video. So what I'm trying to say is, there was a time when I used to track these things. I used to sit down and I used to be like, the moon is in this place and it's doing this and it's bringing this energy, and so this is what I need to do during this phase. And I came back to that. I had a return to that only recently, You will see, if you go back on my videos, you will see energetic forecasts and things like that, because I was talking about it, because I'd got to a place where in my head I was telling myself I wasn't doing this stuff right if I wasn't tracking the energy around me. Anyway, so a few weeks of doing that, kind of burning myself out with it, getting bored of it, being like, oh, for God's sakes, feeling like it's a chore because it was taking time to write, to do all the things, and I kind of sack it off a little bit. I need a break from it. I don't do it. And then there's this day, and I'm kind of aware of like, oh, what is it that I want, and what's going on in my life, and what do I want in my life, and how, and then I had a look. It was new moon phase. What I'm trying to say is, it comes to you naturally. You don't need to sit down and go, oh, it is new moon, so therefore I will write down my intentions. And you don't need to track it as specifically as that. You can track it if you want to. I'm not saying don't track it, but what I'm saying is, for me, the tracking part became the hard work. The tracking part, I must do this today and I must do that tomorrow because the moon's changed phase and blah, 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 became really kind of like academic, which took the magic away. For me, allowing my allowing my soul nudges, my soul wisdom, my inner wisdom to come through and guide me is actually more important than knowing what the moon is. And what I often find is, whatever guidance is going on is connected to the moon phase. Okay, so what am I saying to you? I'm saying to you, you don't need to track it, you don't need to follow it, you don't need to force it, because it naturally will come to you when you stop overriding it with your busyness and with your survival, I suppose. A lot of energetics comes down to giving yourself space, giving yourself time, allowing yourself stillness. That's what a lot of energetics comes down to. Where's the sun gone? So the moon is doing its thing. The moon is sending an energy down to you anyway. You can force the fact that you want to harness that energy, or you can just allow it to happen naturally. Guess which one's easiest? Of course, allowing it to happen naturally is so much easier than forcing it, right? So let's go to human design. So human design is the tool that I use to understand the blueprint of my energy, of how my energy works, of what works for me, of how life flows through me, of how I make decisions, how other people see me, what my superpower is, all that kind of stuff. And energetically, okay, that is coded within my body, okay? That is coded within my body. So if I allow myself to do things in a way that comes naturally to me, I will naturally align to my human design. When I do things that have been taught, conditioned is the word that we use a lot in human design. The conditioning is kind of the conditions that have been put over your life by yourself and by others. So a condition might be, I believe that I will never have lots of money. That's a condition. It's a rule that you have put over your life, which is probably based on something that's happened in the past, that's led you to this point of this belief and this condition. You've created a condition over your life and over your world, okay? If you didn't create conditions over your life and over your world, you would just naturally evolve automatically into your human design. It would naturally flow to you. You would naturally do the things that are linked to your human design. It's the conditioning that causes us a problem. So what does that tell you? That tells you that if you do what you naturally want to do, the things that light you up, the things that make you feel good, the things that feel right, the things that feel in alignment, if you naturally do those things, then you are living out your human design. Now, if you do the things that make life feel hard, if you do the things that make life feel tough, wading through mud, swimming upstream, all the little kind of like ideas of like how we make life hard. If you're making life hard, then you're not in alignment with your human design. And your human design comes naturally. So whatever's making your life hard is a condition that you've placed over yourself. So what is that condition, and how do you unravel it? How do you release it? And how you release that is very individual. I've learned my way of releasing things is very, very different to friends and people that I know who do this kind of stuff. I am a very in the moment person. My human design tells me that I am in the present. I focus on the present. I do things in the present. I don't need to go back and see which past life created this condition for me and heal it and do all that kind of stuff, as some of my friends do. I don't. I just literally click my fingers and get rid of it. And so how we get rid of these conditions is very individual. But what I'm trying to say to you is, you are created, your body is created as a transmitter and receiver. Your body is created to use frequency to create your future reality, okay? So when your body is designed for this purpose, okay, then if you allow yourself to naturally flow and naturally do all those things, then life will take care of itself. It's only when you're going against that flow that life is difficult, that you have to control it, that you have to micromanage, that you have to hustle. Because energetics do come naturally. And this is where I am getting pins and needles in my feet, sorry. This is what I have been brought to again today. And this is why I wanted to deep dive into it, is that I've been brought full circle to a process that I created years ago, in a whole other version of me, which was utilizing social media, utilizing these platforms as a tool for my evolution. Now, at the time of doing this, it was just doing what came naturally. I was just sharing, that's all I was doing. I was just sharing, and I was just doing what came naturally, and it almost created this kind of like flow through different social media platforms, different things being used for different things, you know. And it's very important that I use my voice, okay? It's very important that I use my voice. It's very important that I talk about the things that I need to talk about. I am a self-projected projector. That means I need to speak. I speak from my G center, I speak from my soul. And what I put out there is pretty much, it tells me my truth, it tells me my way forward, it tells me what I need to do, but I hear it in my own voice. When I am not speaking, then my life becomes stagnant. Nothing kind of changes. I feel like I'm on Groundhog Day, Groundhog Week, all these things. And I've begun to realize that, and I've begun to kind of really piece that together, more so than what I probably ever have done before. So I can remember a time now, this other version of me. And it's interesting because there's lots of these other versions of me that are being activated again. People who I've been before, who I have, and I don't mean in a past life, I mean in my current life, because every day we take on new experiences, new knowledge, new wisdom, that changes us to, I'm a different person today to who I was yesterday, you know? It just happens that way. That's evolution, it's what is meant to happen. Anyway, so when I go back to this version of me used to go live on Facebook every day. And I used to talk about the makeup that I was wearing, but I used to go further than that. I used to dig into life. And as I started learning about energetics, I used to bring energetics into it. And whatever was on my heart, really, if I was chasing a goal, I would talk about that. I would talk about what I was doing. I would do all those things. And from there, from that live, there was like a ripple that would be created. And obviously through speaking, using my throat center, speaking things out loud, we put a frequency out into the world. This is a sound wave. This is a sound wave that's hitting you, that you're hearing. It's hitting those it's a sound wave. It's hitting your eardrum, and that's what's helping you to understand what it is that this noise is. Okay, so I put a sound wave out there through my throat chakra, and that goes winging off and does whatever it's meant to do. A frequency, as I've said before, frequency is about creating your future reality. I'm very aware how I seem to look really yellow in this light, but I'm just gonna let it go. I'm hoping that it's just this camera, and then when you see it, you're not gonna see the yellowness that I can see. Anyway, talking about makeup, there we go. Anyway, so it created this whole ripple. So this raw live where I was doing my makeup and I was just letting my voice just go wherever it took me. I would listen to it back and it would give me some insight, and I'd be like, boom, I like that bit, boom, that bit makes sense, boom, I was on form with that bit. And I would pull out all these pieces that were like, they were the important parts of what I just kind of talked about. From there, I would generally I would find something that would be like now, I did a live this morning. It's led me to this long form, deep dive kind of chat about energetics and energetics coming naturally, and because this is what I've understood through doing that live. Anyway, so then it creates a YouTube video, and then I've done a reel as well today because I've been like kind of like excited. I've had this epiphany. I can see it now. I've got stuff to say, I've got stuff to talk about. So it creates this whole ripple, right? But one of the parts of this ripple is actually the bringing it to life, the taking it from there and bringing it out through my throat into the ether of the universe, right? So what I can see when I look back over those times is when I was doing that, my life was, shall we say, improving. It was getting better. I was on an upward slant. Everything was getting better and better. Opportunities were coming to me. Life was exciting. I was having loads of fun. It was just amazing. Everything from it affected everything because I was just on my alignment. I was in my superpower. I was doing what I was meant to do. And it came naturally. There was no force behind this. This was absolutely natural. This is just me letting my guard down and just letting myself do what I needed to do. And it came to me. So me and my husband, we've been wanting to kind of get fit and do the things and all that kind of stuff. For me, the word is super healthy. I want to get super healthy. You might have heard me say that before, but anyway, I want to get super healthy. And that's been a goal now for about 3 years, and I can't seem to make any headway. I know the things. I know the workouts I need to do. I know the foods I need to eat. I know what time I need to get up. I know what my morning routine is. I know I'm going to fit it in. I know all the things. There is no reason why tomorrow I shouldn't be able to just get up and just do the things. However, I now understand that because I haven't been talking about it, I haven't been moving forward. I've created this stagnancy. Whenever I talk about things, whenever I talk about my goals, what I'm going for, how I'm doing it, why I'm doing it, blah, 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 all that kind of stuff. I'm using my throat, I'm using my superpower. Guess what? It starts to move forward. I create momentum through my voice. So, moral of this story really is that energetics comes naturally to you. When you try to overlay your energetics with things that other people have taught you, told you how to be, told you the way it should be, given you a diet plan rather than you deciding on your own diet and the foods that you want to eat, for example, all that kind of stuff, you are being pulled away from what is naturally you. So energetics is what comes naturally to you when you release your conditioning. Now, don't get me wrong, I understand that there is a bit of a lesson there because you have to learn what is your conditioning. You have to be able to feel the difference between conditioning and what comes natural, and that is a whole thing. I'm not denying that is a whole thing. But ultimately, energetics is your natural state of being, okay? Being impacted by the moon and by the seasons is your natural state of being. Allowing your human design to come through is your natural state of being. Manifesting what you want through your frequency is a natural state of being. It doesn't have to be as hard as we kind of make it, because we make it into this, you must study, you must understand, you must do this, you must become an expert on yourself. Just allow yourself to just let your guard down and just flow, and just allow yourself to speak. And in my case, self-projector, which I know isn't for everyone, but allow yourself to just do feels good. Allow yourself to be the woman who follows what feels good. That was a little motto of mine at one point. Follow the feel good feelings, because that is allowing yourself, if it feels good to think about your goals, then think about your goals and have a look, because you're probably in new moon. If it feels good to release the things that are holding you back, then do it, but you're probably in full moon. You know, this is how it kind of rolls out. So that's my vibe. Wanted to share that with you. Wanted to deep dive on that. I hope that if you've listened, I hope you've gained something from that. I hope I wasn't squinting too much. I hope the sun comes back out again. So thanks for listening. I'll see you next time.